How's it going, Thrivers? This video is a continuation of my previous two Hawaii vlogs where I took you guys on part of the Hawaii Marathon as well as doing a short hike. Now in this video, I will take you on two sunrise hikes with me as someone who couldn't even feed himself at one point. I'm going to show you what's possible no matter how sick or terrible you're feeling when it comes to CFS. There is always hope for a brighter future. There was a time when everything you see me do in these vlogs was impossible, completely impossible, yet I was able to do this and enjoy it completely symptom-free. Now, if you haven't seen the previous vlogs yet, I suggest you go watch them right now. That way this entire video makes sense. You can click the link up here if you haven't already seen them. But if you have watched those, sit back, try to relax, and enjoy. All right, do a little flashback here. 6 years ago, we had to use flashlights to start walking up here. I was thinking to myself, this is insane. This is the most amount of activity I've done in a very long time. And I was scared I was going to crash. So I remember walking here, right? Tons of fear. It is literally pitch black. You need a flashlight to get on here. It's very windy too. Let's do it. All right, balls of rock. True Thriver activities right here. Oh, this is slightly sketchy, I'm not gonna lie. It is very steep. Literally in the middle of nowhere. But I think I see the sun starting to come up a little bit. So I'm breathing heavy right now. Back when I was recovering, holy, like I thought I was gonna die at this point. Okay. We're making some progress. Oh, I'm breathing heavy. That's for sure. Now, because there was so much wind, I'm going to be walking you through pretty much what I'm trying to say in the actual video. Now, basically what I'm doing here is I'm pointing out how high this hike is. It's actually higher than I remembered. It's really cool. You know, you don't really notice it because it was pitch black. You know, within 5, 10, 15 minutes, I'm realizing I am so high up, and actually the edges were steep cliffs. The initial 10 minutes where your heart rate is adjusting and your blood is pumping. Now I'm feeling like I'm pretty good. I continue walking up. I didn't realize this actually goes. And here I'm talking about how high these cliffs are. Like if you slip, it's game over. Still walking. We're getting close here. You can see the sun starting to come up over there. So we've got a little bit to go, but I think we're like 80% or 90% up now. We made it. Check this out. And this was a pretty surreal moment just standing up here. I actually planned to get there a little bit later, but I ended up getting there quite early. So I was the only one up here for probably a good 15 or 20 minutes. And I had a lot of time to reflect. As you can see, I'm just sitting here and I was getting flashbacks to all the times, you know, many years ago when I was doing this hike, you know, but this time it was a very long time coming. Finally made it up here with zero symptoms, because the last time I was up here, I was very symptomatic. You know, my heart was pounding like crazy, shortness of breath. I was out of shape, obviously, but to do this and feel great by the time I got to the top, it was like surreal. So I got all these flashbacks. I sat up there. Here you can see me standing up here as it's starting to get a little bit brighter. And it was like a magical moment. You know, it's like everything came around full circle, because I was picturing at the time, well, what it would be like to be up here with zero symptoms. So here I am. This is what it looks like during the daytime. Obviously a very different view as opposed to before where it was completely pitch black. And here there are more people up here, you know, as the sun came up. And this was really cool. It looked like the gates of heaven were completely opening up. They call these the God rays, or the rays of heaven. All right, came into the bunker here. This is what it looks like. Look at this. Very cool. Here, I decided to move along and continue on the hike. There wasn't too much further to go, but just these, walking through this little trail, it was just surreal. It was epic. It was so green. The air was so fresh. The ocean was right there. I sped it up a little bit here, but I actually made a friend at the top there. This guy was traveling from the US, and we were just talking, telling stories, sharing where we're from. And here he was actually standing right on the edge of a cliff. You can't really see it here, but this is actually really high. I mean, if you fall there, you're probably not surviving, but he was just standing there like it was no problem. And then I was up here, asked if he could take some shots of me, because this will make for some really good footage. It will make for some really good footage. It's really, really cool. This is one of my favorite shots out of the whole trip. Just walking into this, it was almost like a heaven-like scene. And, your heart's pounding up there, but you feel good. You feel the wind on your face. And it was quite a surreal moment. And here I decided I was feeling great. Let's go on a little bit of a run here. So there is nothing like running alongside the top of some mountains, even if it's a mini mountain like this. But to go running across here, just feeling the wind, you just feel so alive. Even just the smell of the ocean, the smell of the greenery, it was epic. And I definitely want to come back here as many times as I can. If there's one place in the world that I could choose to live in, it would definitely be in Hawaii, because it's so beautiful. Like, I would want to do this every single day, just get the fresh sunshine. Here I ran into a little dog. Not a little dog, pretty medium-sized dog. Very different from how it looked in the morning when it was almost pitch black. But these hikes, it makes the view so worth it. It takes quite a bit of effort to get up here in the first place. But when you see the view from the top, just like in recovery, it makes all those difficult times absolutely worth it. It was worth every ounce of effort.
This is why Hawaii has, I think, in my opinion, some of the best hikes in the world. Stuff like this. And remember, this was all pitch black earlier? You can't really tell. That goes straight down. As it was straight down. So, when we were walking up here, it was completely pitch black. It's cool. It looks very different during the day. Very, very different. This is where that shot is that I always use in my drone footage of me and my brother running up this cliff. We ran right up here. Shot overlooking this.
This right here, again, it was kind of like heaven on earth. That's what it felt like. This is stuff you see in commercials and magazines. And here I did a little teleport effect to the top there. That's where I came from. Walked all the way down here, got some nice, refreshing, cool down water at the beach. And nothing like stepping into the ocean after a hike, after you worked out your legs and you're getting sore a little bit. And I spent some time just meditating over here, just relaxing, meditating, and helping my body recover. All right, we are about to ride this helicopter. Now, this helicopter ride here, this is also another sign that I was fully recovered, because this was actually terrifying. It kind of feels like the helicopter is going to fall out of the sky. The wind is blowing it so much. It's rocking back and forth. I mean, I thought airplane turbulence was bad. Helicopter turbulence is a whole different story. But nonetheless, you end up relaxing into it. And I really had to focus on my 3 foot world. You know, what can I control? And that's my response to these stressors. This was around the Jurassic Park area. Again, really, really cool experience. This was a bucket list item that I've had on my bucket list for years. And I think if I tried that when I was dealing with even some CFS symptoms, my heart would have been pounding, probably would have had a panic attack.
Right, good morning. 6:30 a.m. We're here ready to hike the Cocoa Head Trail. Apparently this is one of the hardest hikes in Oahu, other than the Stairway to Heaven, which is illegal, but the sun is just starting to come up. This is the last hike of the day. Last hike of the trip, because our plane flies out in a handful of hours. So obviously got to stretch the calves, got to get warmed up a little bit. These shoes have taken me on so many hikes and adventures. If you're still watching at this point in the video, this is quite a long video, but I wanted to take you guys along in all the adventures and show you what a very high capacity looks like once you get your life back, once you recover from CFS. Once you get to a point where you don't have to worry about crashing, you don't have to worry about, any of that stuff. Once you truly recover and get your life back. My legs, they're actually surprisingly recovered from the marathon. I'd say maybe 70%, 70 to 80%. My joints still feel a little bit sore, a little bit achy, but the muscles themselves, they're like 90% back to normal, which is good. I'm surprised at how fast they were, considering I've been hiking the last few days as well. So we had a really good sleep, about 7, almost 8 hours of deep sleep, which is nice. Ready to conquer another hike. Now these hikes, it's kind of symbolic for life in general, especially when it comes to recovering from CFS, because especially these sunrise hikes, when you start, it's pitch black. You can't really see what's ahead of you. It's kind of scary. You need a flashlight. And there's not a lot of people on that same path as you. What you have to do is trust that the view at the top is going to be worth it, based on what people have said, based on what you've seen on Google. So I was thinking about this. You have to trust that all this hard work is going to pay off, and that there's something at the end of it all, that there is a payoff. It's so much easier to keep on going when you know that there's a payoff. But in these cases, with hikes, you've heard that the view is amazing from the top. You've seen pictures, but you haven't seen it yourself. As you're walking along, you're building this image in your mind of how beautiful it's going to be at the top. And it's kind of like in CFS. You've heard that stuff like neuroplasticity works. You've heard that it's possible to recover. But a lot of times you can't see the progress. You're just grinding away. And there is no evidence to show that, things are moving in the right direction. That's where you really have to trust. You have to trust the process, believing and having faith that the view at the top is going to be worth it. And the cool thing is, when we're talking about a hike, you get to the top, you see the beautiful sunrise, the mountains, you feel the wind on your face, you feel energized, you see the blue water, the waves, the trees, the jungle. You think to yourself, wow, that was 1,000 times worth it. I'm glad I got up early. Even though I wanted to keep sleeping in, I'm glad I got up early. I'm glad I walked up here. I'm glad I broke a sweat. That was all worth it. And that's exactly what it's going to be like when you recover from CFS. Okay, this is not bad at all. It looks a lot more intimidating from far away. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I'd say 25 minutes to the top. It's basically like stairs. I'm not scared of stairs. What's the problem? You know what I mean? Stairs with a very nice view at the top is basically what this is. I think right as we get to the top, the sun is going to start coming out. Because I timed it. About 25 minutes to get up. got here at 6:35 approximately. So when I get to the top, the sun is going to be poking its head through the ocean. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. It's only been like 5 minutes, but we made it up a decent amount. Okay, I'm out of breath. So similar to what I was talking about at the marathon, you know, something that helps with these kind of things, these long, grueling processes, it's focusing on the next step in front of you, not getting lost in how much further you have to go or how much further you are from safety or land. At this point, when you're halfway through or midway through, you just have to focus on the next step. Counting it as 1, 2, 1, 2. One more step, one more step. Just one more step. That's what you gotta focus on. So same thing like with CFS. You gotta focus on what is the next logical thing to do right now. It's always gonna be respond well to symptoms. If I was constantly looking up on this hike, I'd feel way more discouraged than if I just put my head down, stay in my 3-foot world, and focus on this. Okay, we are much higher up now. Now I'm really starting to feel it. But again, this is where the mind comes in. This is where mindset is everything. Almost at the top. We're gonna keep on going, and right now, same thing, just focusing on one step at a time, one step at a time. Not getting caught up with how far we have to go. It's like these stairs never end. Keep on going, so we keep the momentum. Literally probably 20 steps to go. All right. Brutal. That was brutal. My legs. Let's explore. What the heck is over here? Oh, this is looking promising. Looks like the view's gonna be worth it. I feel like I'm going to heaven right now. Wow. Wowee. You see, this is just like recovering from CFS. As hard as it is, as grueling and painful as it is, you have to believe that the view is going to be worth it from the top. Right now, it is absolutely worth it. Let's look at this. Holy cow. Look at this freaking spot. Oh my goodness. Just gotta make sure not to fall. Now I'm just realizing that there's a little walkway here, and I see somebody down there. Look. Is that a person? No, I saw a person here. Yeah, there he is. Look at that. That means you can walk down there. So I am borderline tempted to go explore. Let's just take a peek. Okay? We're not gonna do anything crazy. I'm just gonna take a little gander over here. Man, look at that. That is crazy. This is the kind of stuff I used to think about when I was sick. Now I get to do it. Oh yeah, there's definitely a little walkway there. Overall, this has been an amazing
amazing trip. We did so many things. I managed to cram a handful of hikes into this trip. Did a 10-kilometer run, woke up early, watched a few sunrises, and it has been absolutely epic. And there are a few lessons that I want to take away from this and share with you guys, because a lot of this, the whole purpose I was doing a lot of these things was, one, I enjoy them, of course, but two, is to show you guys what's possible after recovery. And going back to that marathon on the first day, let's just say the mini marathon, because it was 10 kilometers. There were two things that I found going through my mind, because I wanted to quit. No, I didn't want to quit, but the question came up into my mind a few times. I'm like, should I be doing this? Am I even supposed to be here? This is crazy. Am I in over my head? Did I bite off more than I could chew? And that's exactly what I felt during recovery. And one of the things I noticed was when I was running, and there were so many people running beside me, because I accidentally jumped into the fast group, right? They were the first group that started running through, so I thought everybody was running that fast, so I just jumped in with them. But their pace was so much faster than mine was. They've probably been training for a while. They have great cardio, great leg endurance. I didn't. So I was having a very difficult time keeping up with them. I actually couldn't even keep up. And it comes into this comparison trap. And I made a few videos about this, but it's just like in recovery, when you're seeing other people recover faster than you, and you start comparing yourself to them, and you start thinking to yourself, wow, I'm really slow. Wow, why are they so much faster than me? Wow, what are they doing that I'm not doing? You can start to beat yourself up. And the more I thought about that, the more energy it took away from me, the harder it was to keep up, and the more tired I became. So just like in recovery, if you're so focused on how fast other people are recovering and you're focused on their journey and their story, you can naturally feel more tired. You'll naturally feel less motivated. You'll actually start to feel deflated, because you start thinking, am I even supposed to be here? Am I in the right place right now? Like, can I even do this? So focus on your 3-foot world. That's what I did, right? I didn't try looking ahead. I stopped looking at how fast other people were going and trying to keep up with them. Me trying to keep up with other people, that's what really, really sucked the wind out of me. And then I started hitting these physical walls. So that's number one, is stay in your 3-foot world. Don't focus on other people's journeys. Focus on your journey, because more oftentimes than not, it will take away energy from you. You need all the energy you can get. Put it into your own race, your own journey. So that's number one. Number two is, again, staying in your 3-foot world. When I was 7 kilometers in and I thought, I have 3 kilometers left, there's no way I'm gonna make it. My legs are fried, I can't breathe, this is brutal. I started to think, how the heck am I gonna keep running like this for another 15 or 20 minutes? And that's when I started to think about this 3-foot world. Miguel, what do you always preach about? The 3-foot world. So my goal was just to make it to the next light. Not even to make it to the next block, not even to make it to the end of the race. It was just to make it to the next light. And I chunked it down into smaller bite-sized, doable pieces of runs, instead of focusing on the next 3 kilometers. I was like, I just have another 50 meters left, and then another 50 meters and another 50 meters. So it's chunking it down, and you'd be surprised at how far you will come and how natural it will feel as you just take the next step. You just take the next step, right? Recovery can feel overwhelming, especially if you're in bed. You can start to think about, how the heck am I gonna be able to drive again and do groceries and work a job? I can't even feed myself, right? Or I can't even leave the house. I can't even get the mail. I can't even drive down the block. So every normal thing that other people do, it feels like an insurmountable task, which is natural. It will feel like that. That's how I felt when I was running. Everybody else seemed way more equipped and able than I was. And I knew I was in for a rude awakening, that you can't just jump into a race like that and expect to feel like everybody else. It's going to be an uphill battle. You got to focus on your 3-foot world, focus on your own journey, and take it one step at a time. And you never know, because for me, that one step started with sitting in a wheelchair in the hospital. Then it moved up to using a walker, and then walking on my own 2 feet, and then walking outside for the first time, then driving on my own, then doing my own groceries and cooking my own food, then being able to shower every day, then being able to go out to restaurants with friends and loud environments, being able to go to malls and beaches and public spaces,
being able to stay up a little bit later now, being able to eat a little bit more food, tolerate sugar, candy, chips, being able to then do all of that with minimal symptoms, which took several months, and then being able to do all that with no symptoms. And then traveling outside the country for the first time, just driving across the border, and then hopping on a plane to the closest city, and then flying to another country, then working a full-time job, then starting my own business. Like, it's just a chain reaction domino effect. And next thing you know, here we are at the top of a mountain in Hawaii, watching the sunrise. But for me, this all started with sitting up in a wheelchair in the hospital about 6.5 years ago. So, sky's the limit here. Sky is the limit. You know, life will take you down some crazy paths, but if you just stick with it, who knows what's going to be on the other side of this recovery, right? I'll tell you right now, once you get to the other side, it's going to be a better life than you previously had. So, hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to end this episode off right here, up in the sky. We are right by the clouds, actually, but I hope this inspires you. I hope you got something out of this. I hope this lit a spark inside of you and helped you set some new visions and new dreams of what's possible after you recover. If you need some help recovering, that's what we're here for. And also comment what your big recovery goal is. If we could snap our fingers and magically all your symptoms went away and you could do anything you wanted without fail, and you knew you could not fail, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to skydive? Do you want to hike up a mountain? Do you want to watch a sunrise? Do you want to just walk your dog outside? Right? What is it that you want to do? Comment it down below. I'm going to read all of the comments. Comment it down below and comment on other people's things. See what their goals and visions and dreams are. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm going to go hike down this mountain now and get back to living life. See you guys in the next video.